Hello from the Music Interview Corner. Today with NANOWAR of Steel with Gatto Panceri 666. How are you?
I'm doing pretty fine, thank you. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I am good too. I'm very excited for our interview.
Okay, it's weird. You shouldn't be. Our interviews usually suck, and we try to make our best possible to embarrass the interviewer. So you shouldn't be happy.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
I love funny interviews, but I thought that's going to come natural with people like you.
Maybe it's gonna be boring. Let's see.
Yeah, so my first question is, you are also the founder of NANOWAR of Steel. And when you formed the band, you were heavily inspired by an Italian comedy band that's called Elio e le Storie Tese.
Well, yes. I mean, Elio e le Storie Tese is basically the main comedy band that every Italian knows. It's like this. I don't know if there's an equivalent in Germany and other countries, but that is the comedy band. Like everyone knows that, and they're very, very famous. And I grew up with them, so basically that was one of my inspirations. And because I think that for a long time, even now, like people take music content very seriously, right? So
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I didn't even think you could make fun with music. Like songs were all of the songs you were listening to in the radio, you would see the videos and everything. They were serious, right? So you didn't even I never even crossed my mind. And then I hear these people that were making fun with songs, and I say, "What the fuck is this? This it's a good idea." And so yeah, I would say that there was one of the maybe subconscious inspirations in the sense that it allowed me to think that you can make fun with music. Yes.
And they are a more rock band, right?
They are pretty much, I mean, we do metal and then we do every kind of metal, and they are pretty much everything else but metal. They also have a couple of songs that are pretty metal. It's like maybe rock, maybe pop. They did everything from jazz to progressive rock. It's more content based. Again, it's pretty much like what we do for metal, right? We are not just power, classic, thrash, whatever. We do more or less all the genres, and they do also more or less all the genres. So it's rock in the sense that they also have guitar, bass, and like the usual rock instruments. So in that sense, yes, and they're good players.
And your new album is called Dislike to False Metal, and it's going to be released on March 10th. And because you just said you have so many different metal styles in your music, I know it's comedy, but what is, in your opinion, false metal?
Oh, well, that's something that I have a very easy answer for. Actually, it's the other way around. We don't give a definition. We just say this is false. We don't like it. And then because we don't like it, then it's false. You don't need to justify that, right?
Okay.
This is how it works. We think that our opinion is right, and everything that is not right in our opinion then is wrong. And likewise, if the metal we don't like it, then it's false. It means it's not true enough. Try again.
Okay.
That's the idea. It's very self-centered, but yes.
You have so many variations of metal in your music. I think that's amazing that you then talk about false metal. I thought that was like comedy in itself.
Yeah, well, we do variations because we try to do every kind of metal, except the false ones, because we don't do shitty metal. False metal is shitty metal. That's basically the definition. According to us, of course. We are the epicenter of the world. So.
Of course, so you have all the power to decide. That's a very good position.
Of course. We have the power of Imodium to decide, yes.
And you also self-released your music for about 10 years before you signed with Napalm. What is
actually more than 10 years, yes.
More than 10 even.
Yes.
What is the biggest differences you would say between doing it all yourself and working with a big label?
Working with a big label, like there's people like you that call me at 6 p.m. and tell, do you want to make an interview? Yeah, sure. Just because our label got in touch with interviewers. And before that, it was very hard for us to get exposure, like on a international audience, maybe. That was the main problem for us. I guess it's like internally it didn't change so much. So the way we handle things, the way we think about the albums, we think about the music, that didn't change. But now there's a different perspective. Now we know that whatever we do is probably going to get exposed to a wider audience, and it's a good thing. It's only you need that. I mean, I think there was this thing back in like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when the internet thing exploded, like music on the internet, MP3s and everything, and people started to think that you could make without labels, right? You could just do
Mhm.
everything on your own. But no, you still, it turns out you still need labels, and so that's how we changed our mind as well.
And you have a PhD in astrophysics, right?
Yes.
How does it influence your work with NANOWAR of Steel?
I don't know. Like it influenced when I was doing the PhD because I had less time for NANOWAR of Steel and I was
Mhm.
working in Spain. So it was the main influence was it's complicated to do both things at the same time, especially if you're living in another country.
Mhm.
Um, Apart from that, probably there was some influence when writing Uranus lyrics, probably, and finding the Uranus location for the for the filming because we shot it in an observatory, so I had contact with observatories, of course,
Mhm.
for for my job. But apart from that, I don't know.
It's a really cool
Um,
video. I really like the video.
oh, it's nice.
Yeah, and you just
Thanks.
mentioned that you were in Spain. You spent a lot of time living, working, and teaching in abroad. You were in
Yeah.
Heidelberg, Germany. That's why you speak German. And you were
Yes.
in Madrid, Spain, and in Israel, and also in Potsdam, Germany. What fascinates you
Yes.
about living abroad?
I mean, I like languages. One thing I really like is to function in another language. So you do daily things, but like everyday living, but in another language. It's like you have a different personality. You develop like some kind of parallel personality. When I was living in Germany and I was speaking German, I was doing kind of things and I was interacting in different ways. I was using different words. Like, well, it was a different me in a way. Same thing for all the other places where I lived. So it's like a parallel life that you're living in a way. When you try, at least I was trying to integrate in the sense I was trying to listening as much radio and TV as possible to try to understand what was going on around me, try to get the culture, the music, and then they also get some inspiration sometimes also for what we do with NANOWAR. So that's the thing that I like the most.
Yeah, you mentioned your languages and your language skills. You also used your language skills to help in 2016. You were a volunteer for refugee aid in Serbia.
Okay, what do you? Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
can you tell us more about
I
that?
did it
Yeah, you
once.
worked as a translator, right?
Um, Actually, yes, that was during the. I mean, so just a couple of things. That I'm a big fan of former Yugoslavia, so I learned Serbian. I used to travel around here a lot, and that's also when there was the refugee crisis in 2015 and 2016. Then I used to come here on holiday, and I could see firsthand that these people were coming, and so I'm
Mhm.
not sure since I speak Arabic and I speak Serbian. It happened to me like randomly a couple of times that I had to help people in the street, like with translations, buying food, buying tickets, buying every like informations and everything. And then there was this organization. It turned out I was in Serbia for a couple of weeks for actually for a scientific meeting. I was working with a professor at the Observatory of Belgrade. And so I spent 2 weeks here doing both. Basically, in the evening, then I would join this Refugee Aid Serbia organization and help them with translation and even just simple things like giving stuff. And it was, I don't know, it felt like natural. I mean, I knew I could do something, I could help, and then I'd say,
Mhm.
okay, it's an experience. It was a nice experience actually. So
Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
wow, thanks for mentioning that. Did you get information from my website or
Yeah, yeah, I
what?
read you. Of course, I did my homework. I
Okay,
read your whole biography, of course.
wow. Okay, thanks. I'm
No, thank
flattered.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very interesting. There will be many more questions here that will relate to your biography. Um,
Okay.
one of the
Okay.
other things that I wanted to ask you is you have a very special relationship with IKEA, right? Did you ever
Yes.
get any feedback or any special discounts from IKEA?
No, actually, I think we
Oh.
invested so much money in IKEA because every show we build some kind of furniture, we do stuff that's IKEA related. And we also try to organize stuff like we back in 2020 when we had the first tour after Hallelujah. We are doing these eat and greet meetings.
Yes, at different IKEAs, right? In Spain
Yes,
and France
yes.
and in Italy.
Spain, France, and Italy. Yes, so we're doing like the treasure hunt. We would hide our CDs in IKEA furniture and say our fans, look, we hid some CDs here. Go and look for them. Or we put select our T-shirts in IKEA furniture, or we put
Mhm.
posters and everything. And like we were saying, okay, this is the kitchen. We placed like 3 items here. Find them out. And there was this treasure hunt. And then we were eating at Ikea, a cafeteria, and having fun with we were just singing and having fun together with the fans. But no, actually, like they threw us from Ikea a couple of times. They urged us to go out, and the security was very mad at us once. Yes, we were filming something. We were like worshiping. I think it was Billy. I'm unsure. It was a Billy or a Kallax or something. But anyway, we were bringing like a procession, like a religious procession, and we built it in the parking lot. We were praying to it, and then the security got us out of the parking lot. Yeah.
Oh no, they are so ungrateful. They should be grateful that you're worshiping.
They should be, yes. I mean, we have a lot of friends that work in IKEA, and there are some managers and people that work there, and fans and friends that we know since a long time also. And they all tell us that it's very hard to do things on an official level with IKEA because everything has to go through like the central office, and they have so many requests, and it takes like a year to process stuff. And so usually we don't have so much time to wait. It's complicated.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And you did that also in 2020 during the pandemic, right?
Just before the pandemic, yes.
Oh, just
it wasn't
before.
a thing like, yes, it was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks before the lockdowns.
Oh, good that you could still do that your fans could still have a nice life experience.
Yeah. Like no one was thinking about that. I remember we were in Spain, was maybe 30, 40 people, and we're having fun. So it's same thing in Italy. Like Italy, we did it by the end of February. So like 2 or 3 weeks before all hell broke loose.
And in May 2020, you released a single, a special song that deals with the pandemic. And the song has very special lyrics. And you also released a video that was shot remotely. Can you tell us more about that song?
Okay, so the song you're referring to is called Sneeze Them Over Young.
Yes.
And I think it was like, it was just an attempt to, there was a very hard time and people were sad and afraid and everything. And we said, okay, we should, like do something fun about this. Let's take the situation is shitty, but let's just make something funny out of this. And so we had the idea of making a song with very with no lyrics, basically. It's just coughing and sneezing and getting bored. It's like we were yawning through all the song because it was a boring time. At some point you couldn't get out of home and you couldn't do much. So
yeah, at that time it was really, really bad in Italy.
It was, yes, but I was lucky enough. I didn't spend those 3 months in Italy. I flew to Serbia.
Oh, good.
I flew to Serbia, actually. Yes, it was pretty normal here. It wasn't that hard, so I had fun. Yeah, I had more fun than what I would have.
I was in Los Angeles when the pandemic started.
Okay.
And after a while, I went to Finland, and Finland was so very different, much more open than California, and it was really like a different world.
Yeah. It made a huge difference.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, I am a stand-up comedian myself, and so there's this question that I sometimes ask myself, is how far can comedy go, or what can comedy do? Are there certain topics that you would not address in your music?
So there are topics we don't address because we don't think it's funny. Like, for example, when you have these waves of, like these trends, we try to avoid those usually. I mean, sometimes we also jump on the bandwagon, but everything that is sort of trendy, I don't know, for many reasons, we try not, it's probably unconscious. Like we try to do our own stuff, right? And so this is the first thing. Then in terms of topics, if there are things we would rather not say or touch, probably, again, it's very unconscious in the sense that it happened very, very few times that we had to say, like we develop an idea and we say, no, this is too much. Let's not do this. It happens rarely. There are probably jokes and things that we say among ourselves that we would never make songs about because they are too extreme, or it's kind of jokes you do with longtime friends, and even just because maybe only they would understand that. So it's that's another thing. So we usually when we write songs, we just think about things that make us laugh, and then if it makes us laugh, and we say, even if there are a few things, even in this album, probably there are a couple of things that are we're thinking, oh, maybe this is too far off. Maybe it's too much, but we say, fuck it, let's just it's funny, and you don't have to justify. I think like sometimes, especially now, like people are trying too much to justify what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
Especially in comedy.
Cancel culture is, in my opinion, a big problem for comedy in general.
It is, yes, because like comedy, of course, it's something that is unrelated to what I think. I mean, if I'm making a joke, it doesn't mean I think what the joke says.
Yeah.
Most of the funny jokes I know, that when I was living in Israel, there were like Holocaust jokes, and Jewish friends of mine would tell them to me, right? And of course, I know he doesn't agree with that because it's his relatives were a target of that, but he didn't have to explain it to me. It's clear, right? So it's clear that in comedy you're making up a sort of a fictional world. Sometimes you want. I mean, it doesn't always mean you want to convey some message. Sometimes you may want to. Sometimes you don't want to. You don't really need to explain everything. It takes like the fun out of the comedy if you have to explain things. You don't have to explain that, this is a joke. I mean, we are not endorsing killing people. It's a joke about killing. I don't know. We can say a lot of. We are not endorsing IKEA. It's just it was fun for us to sing about it. But yeah, I mean, I really like George Carlin. I don't know, like Bill Hicks, and this 70s, 80s, and 90s comedian, like stand-up comedies, international level, and even in Italy. And they didn't have any boundaries. And it's not like people were starting killing each other after listening to that. You couldn't measure any negative consequence of the speech. If anything, they had positive consequences in that they were, questioning many things like religion, politics, and stuff. So the language is again, the message can be anything. I think I'm going too long. So.
No, but I was also thinking a lot of genius comedians back then, or even music videos that were published 5-6 years ago, that would not be possible maybe to publish it now, because then cancel culture would like jump at it.
Yeah, that it's true. It's true. I don't know how we didn't have a huge backlash so far.
Good.
Like this. I mean, we have a few songs that could be, in my mind, I know that there's a bunch of songs, a bunch of lyrics that someone could jump on that and say, oh, look, they are transphobic, whatever, all these kind of epithets that people attach to, when they don't like things, and they just say you're racist, and that's the end of story. You don't need to. So we have a couple of songs like that, and again, I don't know why. I mean, this probably they didn't hit anyone yet, but we are ready for that. If any time that's gonna happen, I mean, it might happen that someone gets mad at us and might be mad at some lyrics, and then try to like some shitstorm might happen, but I don't know. Well, we don't care. we know who we are, and we've been doing the same thing. But we've done the same thing for 20 years, so it's we got we know our fan base, we know who we are, we know that we are. I mean, we're probably good persons. We're not especially good, not even bad. We're average, like morality person. So why should you aim at us? It's
That's true, and it's also the way how you convey it, how you present it. I think that also makes a big difference.
Of course. I mean, one thing for sure that we do, and it's part of what we do, and we like the way to do it. It's like we try to not to use many curse words, like swear words, like profanity. There is, of course, like some fuck here and there, and dicks and whatever. But like on average, like usually we try to avoid that. It's sort of a style reason, in the sense that when you use too much profanity, then probably the joke wears out very quickly. So it's not funny anymore. That's something that we know. Like it's a take on comedy that we share. So if you are too extreme or use too many like swear words, we try to be like more on the Monty Python probably side, in the sense that we try to be more absurd and try to get some weird ideas, put them together, and make make fun stuff out of that, rather than sheer probably vulgarity or stuff like that.
And I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the idea for your stage name, Gatto Panceri 666?
Okay, so Gatto Panceri is an Italian pop singer. It was just basically the idea. I wanted to make like an evil version of this. It's like an average pop singer. It's not extremely famous. It's like famous enough to be on TV sometimes, and people like to be on the radio. That kind of popularity. And I wanted to make like sort of an evil version of this average pop singer. I thought it was funny. Just get a random Italian pop singer and make it very evil, like 666. So that was make the metal version of it. That's where my name came from.
Did you ever get any backlash from that singer?
No, no, I don't know if he knows that we exist. I know I get tagged a lot of times on Facebook and Instagram pages, like when they make interviews with him, then he's not really, I mean, he's like a pop singer from the 90s, so he doesn't really have a strong social media presence. And that's why I get tagged, like most of the times they tag me instead of him. Because, oh, we have an interview with Gatto Panceri, then they tag my page and they don't tag his, because I think I have more followers, but because, again, it's like, he's not very active on social media. So I don't think he knows, unless, again, someone maybe looking at his interview on Facebook, then he finds out that they tagged the wrong person, but never heard from him directly.
But I think you are more famous, because when I looked it up and did my research, I only found hits on you and not much on him.
Okay. Okay. It's probably skewed because you're looking from an international place. In Italy, it's definitely more famous than me. He wrote very famous songs. Like he was in Sanremo Festival a couple of times. So, but anyway.
But I think maybe you giving him more screen time in a way when you were like by being
might be that might
version.
be. Might be.
And we already talked a little bit about your languages. Now I have to read the list, because you speak 10 languages and I don't want to miss anything. So it is Italian, of course, which is your native language, but English, Spanish, Serbo-Croatian, German, French, Hebrew, Russian, Levantine, Arabic, and Portuguese, right? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, Portuguese, not so much. No, I'm studying Polish. Portuguese, it's some basic level, but yes.
How did you manage to learn all these languages? And does it sometimes happen to you that to start mixing them up?
Only when you start learning a new language, then, like at the beginning when I was studying Russian, then I would mix it with Serbian a lot. Now I think I sort of manage to separate the two.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I don't use them for a long time, I don't know. Maybe sometimes, yeah, Spanish. Of course, I lived in Madrid until 8 years ago. So that since I left Madrid, and of course, I lost some of that. So I sometimes mix it with Italian when I speak. I don't even remember. But yeah.
We were actually speaking German before this interview, but we decided to do it in English for the international viewers here. And I wanted to ask you, could you give us a demonstration of all your 10 languages? Could you maybe say, I love Ikea in all languages? Or maybe should you say, Ikea, you are ungrateful? I'm not sure which one would be better.
Whatever, no. I would say I love Ikea.
Mm-hmm. Can you,
okay.
yeah, like now the official language demonstration, I love Ikea.
Okay, well, you tell the language, otherwise I missed the list, but anyway.
Shall I give you the list? Shall I say first?
Just say Spanish, pues. Vamos a empezar con el español. En español se dice yo amo Ikea. O me gusta Ikea, mejor. Dann würde, also auf Deutsch wäre ich liebe Ikea. Oder? Ja.
Yes. Ja, sehr gut.
Well, English haben wir schon mal gesagt. بالعربي أنا بحب إيكيا. בעברית זה אומר אני אוהב את איקאה, את איקאה. Was noch? Eu amo Ikea in Português.
Did you do Russian already?
Я люблю Ikea.
Did you do French?
French, pas encore. En français, c'est j'aime Ikea.
Wonderful. I think now we got all the languages.
Srpski nemamo. Na srpskom to je volim Ikea. Volim Ikea. Ikea u stvari.
And did we forget Italian? Did we forget your native language?
Cazzo, in italiano si dice amo Ikea. Mi piace molto Ikea, no, non lo so. Sì.
Beautiful. That sounds really romantic.
That's what I would say if I wanted to marry a piece of furniture. Yeah. I love IKEA. So if you have a date with a table, for example, with a luck table from IKEA, you want a date, then you would say, "Oh, I love IKEA." It's like you're trying to show off, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever happened to you to date a table or a bed, or I don't know.
I think it would be amazing to date a table, because you could ask the table to bring the dinner on top of it.
Yes, on top of it. If the table moves, it can be a tricky question, but there are moving tables with wheels. So
right, but dating a bed, I would be a little bit worried that it would all go a little too fast for me, like ending up in bed.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. You can date IKEA, first date with a table, second date with an IKEA bed.
Oh, that's true.
We can
That's a
make
very
it.
good. Thank
Yes.
you. You should be
Set
an
a date.
IKEA relationship
Yeah.
advisor.
Yeah, I can do that as well. Yes.
And is there anything you want to say to your fans?
I want to ask them to come to our shows and buy our stuff because we need a lot of money. We spent all the money we had on videos. And I hope it's very. I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. So this is I hope to see as many people as possible at our shows and have fun together for this tour, and enjoy the album, enjoy the videos, and always keep in mind that the albums and videos have very high costs, and we have to pay for much of it. So it's help is always appreciated. I'm begging you, so it's good to end the interview like a beggar.
Yeah, shall I put your bank account like PayPal or GoFundMe somewhere under the video?
PayPal is great. Yes.
Oh yeah, we can do that so that you can afford some more IKEA furniture or dates with IKEA.
Yes.
furniture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, I mean, we need to buy IKEA furniture for our shows. So.
But those ungrateful IKEA bastards should maybe give you a sponsorship and give you some furniture for free.
We should have some endorsement, yes, but it's complicated. It takes more time than it takes to just order a couple of lugs on their website. So,
but shame on you, IKEA. We said here, I love you, IKEA, so many times. I hope, IKEA, you're going to watch this, like the biggest international president of IKEA. Maybe you can give those guys here maybe a sponsorship or at least some money to the PayPal link that you will find below.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, then thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you.